This is some stretches that I've learned, and feel free to add or subtract any ones that you like or don't like. But stretching and flexibility is crucial to staying healthy and having longevity with your exercise program. So I definitely recommend that you try to incorporate some of these stretches at least as a minimum every day that you exercise. I start standing up and then work my way to the ground. So one of the first ones I'll do is just a simple quad stretch. It's designed to actually stretch the quad, and I'll switch and do both legs. And I'll hold each stretch for a minimum of 15 seconds and no greater than 30 seconds. To actually stretch the muscle, you need at least 15 seconds, and the studies don't show a whole lot of benefit beyond 30 seconds. The next I'll do is I'll do a hamstring stretch. You can do it with your feet together, you can do it with your feet wide apart. One reason why I actually cross my leg is the front leg keeps the back leg locked, and plus that leg that's in the back, as it gets stretched, I get a stretch across the hip. So if I was to stand here, when I stretch here, the piriformis gets a bit of a stretch across the hip here. And you just go down to a place where you start feeling mild discomfort with these stretches. Never try to force it beyond that. Stretching should not be a painful thing. It shouldn't be an extremely painful process. It should actually, you should feel good when you get done. And I'll obviously switch legs. Next, I go to the ground. And I stretch a glute stretch. And I'll take and cross my legs with one leg on the ground, the other leg up, and then I'll do a twist towards the leg that is up. And I'll use my elbow to push against the knee to increase the stretch. And then I would switch. Next, I do a single leg hamstring stretch. And then again, I would swap legs. Next, I'd stretch the inner groin. So I'll bring my feet in. And one of the techniques you can use to increase the stretch is to grab your feet and open it like you're opening a book. And that increases the stretch across the inner groin. And again, if you wanted to, you can add another hamstring stretch where you stretch both legs together. The next thing I do is I go to the ground on my back, and I cross my legs, and I'll reach through and pull, trying to stretch this glute here. Another variation is if you want to keep your legs straight, you can pull and get more of a hamstring stretch. Then again, I'll switch legs. Next is called a secretary stretch, and you would cross your legs like you're a secretary or a lady sitting in a chair, and then the leg that is up will do the action, pulling the leg down to get a stretch all across the side. It's a really good oblique stretch. And then again, another stretch you can add if you want from the ground is pull up, and then pull across. Next, I come up to a hands and knees kind of position. I start by bringing my leg forward and lay the back leg straight. And depending upon how flexible you are, you can stop high up or you can go down. And then you can position your leg and knee, so if it's too intense, you can kind of bring your leg in a little bit. And if you want to increase it, you can kind of straighten that leg out. And then you can position your body different places to hit the hips a little differently. And then the next one I'll sit on the foot, reach behind me to stretch the quads again. And it does a really good job of stretching the hip flexor as well. And again, less intense is staying down low to the ground. If you have a difficulty with this, you can kind of lean off to the side and still get the stretch. And then switch legs again. This one's my favorite for people with low back pains, as you can adjust the stretch to hit the low back problem. The next thing I do is go through some basic type yoga moves. I'll start with an upward dog, which stretches the hip flexors and the abdomen. And then I'll go to a downward dog. Then I'll come with a kick, swing throughs if you're going to go to a runner's pose, and then I'll just drop down to a runner stretch. Then I'll come up, go back into the downward dog, and this time I'll actually alternate my feet by bending one knee to increase the stretch on the calves. And then I'll come back together for a good downward dog, come up, swing through again, and do the runner stretch on the opposite leg. Then I'll come through, and at the very end, I'll do the child's pose, which is a good way to end and allow yourself to just relax and kind of calm. And that's the list of stretches that I do every day after my workouts to keep my lower body nice and healthy.
Woo!
While you're there, I have a question.
Absolutely.
When you're doing that, I don't forget what it was called, kind of like a push-up, upper dog?
Yeah, the upper dog.
What do you touch? What's touching?
You try to get to where just the tops of your
Tops
feet are
of your
touching.
feet.
Oh.
That's what you want. That's what you want to have. Also, I mean, if you start here, if you feel a stretch,
I did, yeah, but
that's a good
was like
start.
right here, touching.
Yeah. So long as you feel a stretch. After time, that doesn't work, and you kind of have to get up, so you still get a stretch across the hip flexors, and it just after a while you'll get loose. It won't be effective. You'll notice I don't feel anything
That's going to be a while because it seems like the things I'm doing are making things tighter. That's good.
In 2 to 3 weeks, you'll notice a huge difference. You'll be like, oh wow.
Yeah.
Stretching out the tops of your feet will make you a better kicker in swimming too. It'll enable you to point your.
I mean, actually, I don't need to blow
So-
bubbles when I'm swimming.
So we did this as a group. Bear led us through this as a group after our 2-hour run, and it was awesome, man. A really nice way to finish up the run.
It's a great cool down.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, man.
Sure. Mm-hmm.